Hello everyone, welcome to the Radical Geek YouTube channel. I am just doing a quick video this morning because a few people on the first live stream we did asked me to tell my story, and when they're asking for my story, they mean my ketogenic uh, lifestyle story. And I thought that we would go ahead and share that out because I think the more we tell people our struggles and our triumphs, the better we are to help others in the same situation or similar situations, or at least having those same kind of feelings that they're not alone. So to kind of bring things up real fast, I want you to know that my ketogenic story started well before I knew what keto was. It started, a really long time ago when I had a diagnosis for a glioblastoma. And that glioblastoma was non-operable because of the location in my brain. So I lived with that for a really long time. I went through a lot of cycles of chemo and radiation and more chemo until I became so miserable with my life that I just didn't even really want to live it anymore. And at that point in time, I made the decision where I said, I'm not doing any more treatments. It weighed heavy on the family. It weighed heavy on me. I was massively unhealthy, not just because of the cancer, but because I didn't take care of myself anymore. I was, on top of that, I had hyperglycemia. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I have Raynaud's. There's a lot of things wrong with me that's not just the cancer. The hyperglycemia was a huge one, and a lot of times on TV, they portray cancer patients as withering away and frail, wasting away. And actually, while that does happen, there's also the other end of the spectrum. And that is because they feed you steroids constantly when you are getting cancer treatments because they need you to absorb some nutrition, and they need to stimulate your appetite, and then they also give you medication so that you aren't as sick during the chemo, so you can hold down food, but because you're being radiated, you're not absorbing all the vitamins, plus you have all of the other things going on. And so I was really big, and the more ill I became from the cancer, the more they gave me more and more steroids and more chemo, and the bigger I became. So at 5 foot tall, I was quite a bit over 200 pounds. So at that point, not only was I not feeling good, I didn't take care of myself, and I was really fat. Between all of those things, I had a lot of limited mobility. I just couldn't do a lot. I was too tired. Everything hurt. Everything was miserable. But fast forward to 2013, we've been living with this fact that Maitreya is not making it for a little while, and we know we don't have a lot of time. But I still go to my doctor, to my oncologist, because when you have a glioblastoma, they make you get monitored a lot. So I have my MRIs, and we have all our follow-ups and all our discussions. But this time was different because what he proposed to me was a new stereotactic radiation that they were going to have available now that the study had finished. All of the research had been validated, and it was ready to actually be done in real hospital settings with patients, and no longer considered a researchable item, but the real deal, a positive, high rate of success surgery. And so after working through all of the emotions surrounding changing my mind from that, I'm no longer going to do treatments, and talking to the family and the enormous strain it would take to go this direction, we decided to move forward with the procedure. So I went and I had this procedure. During the course of the procedure, and this is a risk with any time they touch your brain, I had 3 strokes, which caused some issues with my nerves on the right side. So that's a lifetime thing that's going to be there forever. But I didn't lose everything, and I'm still pretty spry now. And I did have some memory loss and some things like that, but nothing that has been horrendously detrimental. So, but the real issue that I had was post-surgery, I developed a seizure disorder. This is also a normal, common thing that happens when they go in there and they start, and they have to take pieces of your brain out. It doesn't happen to everyone, but it does happen, and it was one of the risks that we had to accept. But for me, the anticonvulsants weren't controlling the seizures in the way that we had all hoped and planned. Instead, they just seemed to be increasing in frequency. So as I kept going to follow-up appointments, and I finally got to the point where, they were like, we have one last thing to try, and it's not a medicine. You need to go on a diet. So I didn't really take that news well, because I really feel like a lot of times healthcare looks at fat people and says, well, all your problems are because you're fat. And they don't always look deeper in to find out what's wrong. Plus, I mean, ridiculous things like, hey, I have a sinus infection and I can't smell anything. I really feel like I need an antibiotic. Oh, have you tried going on a diet? Yeah, that's a real thing that happened. Nonsense. So I wasn't too pleased with the idea of like, well, you might be a cancer survivor, but now that you have seizures, everything will be great if you just go on a diet. Sounds like crap, doesn't it? But so I think you all know what came next, and you are correct. That was me getting to my car, crumpling it up, and saying, I'm not doing this bullshit, that's for sure. And just continuing on. A few more follow-ups, and things aren't exactly sunshine and roses. So I'm back at the doctor's office, and I don't know really what's going on, but he like slaps down a folder on the table and he says, I have someone else who's joining me today. And he seems kind of irritable, and that makes me not feel great. Plus I'm thinking, oh, someone else joining, great, students, just what I need. Let's just make things even more invasive and miserable than they already are. But in comes my cardiologist. Now, knock me over with a feather. I don't know about you, but I have never seen a neurologist and a cardiologist put their big giant egos aside and coordinate their calendars to have an appointment at the same time with one patient. So that was surprising, but all of these lovely doctors have been with me for a real long time, so they don't exactly hold their punches either. And today was a tough love day from the doctors. They threw my folder on the table and said, did we just waste millions of dollars on you? And I was like, put off, quite frankly. I couldn't believe that they said that. And then my cardiologist picked the folder up that the neurologist had just thrown down, and he opens it, flips through some pages, and he says, and we say this because you're reporting that you're not seeing improvements, but let me tell you, if you were doing the things that we told you to do, it would not look like this. And he's pointing at numbers on the chart and Basically it looks like gobbledygook to me because I didn't, at that point in time, I didn't do research. I didn't read medical journals. I didn't study so much that I could basically almost have my own type of medical degree. I certainly didn't question what doctors told me. I didn't have that kind of due diligence. I didn't know better at the time. And so he's telling me it wouldn't look like this. And I'm like, well, I don't even know what that says. So whatever. And he says, so here's the thing. Do you want to be alive next month? And for me, for some to hear that, I don't know. Do I? Was basically what I was thinking, although I didn't say that out loud right that moment. And he said, because if you do, I need you to take this seriously. I need you to take this plan that we gave you, and I need you to follow this diet, and I need you to make sure that you're taking these medicines, and I need you to get with the program and take it seriously. And he said, but if you want to die, then you can leave this appointment and stop wasting our time and money. Which I couldn't believe that they said that, because how do you talk to your customer in such a fashion? And I do think that patients are customers of doctors. But as most retail will tell you, the customer is not always right, and I was not. I was upset, and I got to my car and I cried, and then I was just enraged. How dare they? How dare they speak to me like that? How dare they treat me like that? How dare they? Just wait till I tell my spouse. They'll hear from them too. Oh, yeah, that's right. And I get home, and by then I have worked myself up into a full indignant lather. And I explain what has happened, because not only do I think that my spouse will be indignant on my behalf and outraged just like that and very protective, and I also think they're going to comfort me and be like, oh, they're you right, they're not doing you the way they should. Oh, let's have some cheesecake and everything will be better. And that's not what happened. They said, if they're being that serious with you, it seems like we're going to go on a diet. And I wasn't exactly thrilled, but the entire family pitched in and they cleaned out the things that I wasn't supposed to have. And I cried a lot and said I couldn't do it because it was going to be too hard. And how could I not have everything that I love? And that was my comfort and my security. And I had every excuse in the book, everything. And I really thought that I could either princess my way out of it or angry demand my way out of it or something. Anything to stop like this nightmare of taking away everything I perceived as the good things in my life. But we made it and we did it, and we started this diet and within a couple weeks, change was happening fast and dramatically. I dropped a huge, enormous quantity of weight, and yes, the first initial whoosh is water weight. Guess what? Who gives a crap that it's water weight? If you lost that weight, that is water that is not on your joints. That is water that is not bogging down your body. That is water that is not slogging up your waist, and water not pushing down on your stomach, water not impeding all your joints. Good riddance. That is a fantastic thing. So, but I still wasn't exactly happy about it. I was kind of feeling better a little bit. Still having plenty of seizures though, and I was entirely skeptical that other than losing some weight, that it was doing anything. But we keep trying, and I follow up with a doctor, and they said, keep doing what you're doing. It's too soon to say. But it was hard for me to deny that I was feeling better. I did deny it though, because I would really like my cinnamon rolls back and my ice cream and cheesecakes and all of the things and a pizza that would make me happy. Uh, that's a whole different story that we'll talk about sometime. And I'm sure a lot of us can resonate with some food issues. But I was feeling better, and the weight was just melting off. And I thought, all right, fine. Let's test this out a little bit. And to be honest, the diet didn't taste bad. I was still having bacon at breakfast and hamburgers, even though it was kind of sad without the bun. But I was also having salmon with broccoli and uh, more bacon and pork belly and lots of barbecue, which I am very passionate about. And I was finally able to actually do my own barbecue again because I was no longer feeling like I couldn't get up off the couch for 10 minutes to even get myself a glass of water. So things were definitely changing. And over the course of a year, not only did I lose an enormous quantity of weight, and we're talking like 70 pounds, uh, I began to move, and that was tremendous. Like, I started just being able to only make it from my front door to the corner and needing to take a rest to walking all around the neighborhood. So it was starting to feel pretty incredible. And on top of all that, despite all of my skepticism and all of my doubt, I was having way less seizures. And as things continue on, they keep reducing. And I become far more educated. I'm interested in what's happening. One thing about being nerdy or geeky is when something is doing what you don't expect, you start deep diving and you look into it and you dig up all those facts. And I just gained a tremendous amount of quantity of a tremendous amount of quantity, haha, a tremendous amount of knowledge. I learned, my eyes were opened really wide to a lot of interesting facts about biology and biochemistry and ketogenesis. And in case you haven't figured out by now, which I can't imagine that you didn't know right from the beginning from my actually mentioning the keto diet, that food plan, that diet that the doctors put me on was a keto diet. Yes, the fad diet that's been around for decades upon decades upon decades, treating people for medical ailments, that diet. And it has been tremendous. Overall, not only have I not had seizures in years, because remember that this diet started in 2013 and now it's 2021. I've lost over 120 pounds. I believe last time I looked almost 130 pounds. I'm no longer a slug on the couch who can barely get up to get my PlayStation remote. I am an avid cyclist where we ride miles upon miles upon miles all the time. I do strength training. I'm actually starting a program to learn how to get my own athletic certification for fitness training. So my life has done a full 360. No, 180. I'm having an evening. I've had 10 hours of training today, so my brain is mush, but not in a bad way, in a great way. I know I couldn't have made it through this. I'm getting promotions at work, and I know that sounds like, well, how could a diet do that? But it did that because it gave me my zest for life back. In addition to that, I found community, from other people who have to follow this protocol or choose to follow this protocol. Almost all of them doing it for health, not just the beautiful side effect of the weight loss that they get to experience. Reversing type 2 diabetes, treating their MS symptoms, uh, relieving some of their arthritis pain, hypoglycemic treatment, type 1 diabetes management. I've met so many people with a variety of seizure disorders that are using this diet to control them, paired up with their anticonvulsants. It's it's been miraculous for me. My entire life has changed. I have a new lease on life, and actually I'm healthier than I've ever been. For the first time since I was maybe 20 years old, I actually have an old age to look forward to, and that is due in a part to that medical procedure, but in the larger scale is due to being on a ketogenic diet. Um, what can I say? That is the super high level origin story of the ketogenic diet and the Radical Geek. So I'm sure there are lots of questions because that's a lot of information all compressed down with not a lot of detail. So feel free to ask any question you want. Just drop it in the comments. If you don't want to put it on a YouTube comment, drop it in one of the groups if we're in a mutual group together, or feel free to even to reach out and send me an IM. If we're not friends on Facebook and you send me an IM, know that I don't always remember to check that other folder, but I do at least once a week keep track of the stuff that shows up in there. So I will answer you. It just may take me a day or so. As far as everything else, this is the Radical Geek YouTube channel. We've got, right now, it's a high focus on ketogenics because it's just the current thing coming out of my mouth right now. But no, we will talk about board games. We're going to talk about some geek-tastic movies. We'll deep dive in. And every Sunday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, I do a live stream called Coffee Talk. That Coffee Talk right now is because one of my passions is coffee. And I love sharing that knowledge, and it does get that geeky trigger going. So I'll talk about some coffee equipment, a coffee method, a type of coffee, something like that. We'll have a brew, and then each week, as part of that talk, we'll pick a topic to pair with the coffee. So maybe we'll talk about horror movies. Maybe we'll talk about some big news article that came up or a big research study. Maybe we're going to talk about the X-Men timeline. Maybe we're going to talk about the new PlayStation release. Maybe we're going to talk about the cycling metrics. Maybe we're going to talk about the benefits of strength training. Maybe we're talking about autophagy. You name it, we can deep dive it. We're going to choose those topics together and enjoy our time and our camaraderie and the little slice of our community that we build together. So welcome to Radical Geek. Don't forget to click subscribe and hit that little button below to remind you so that you know when videos upload and you get that reminder about our live stream on Sunday evening. Thanks for listening.